Hi, Jim Brandvik. Today we are going to take a piece of 24 gauge silver, a disc, and we're going to use an impression die to turn it into a skull. Before we get going, we need to be sure that we're safe, so I'm going to stop and put on my safety glasses and let's try that again. That's better. Cool. All right, I'm going to move you in a little bit closer so you can see what's going on. I'm going to use this little purple Potter press. Be careful when you order a press from Kevin Potter. If you say you don't care what the color is, he really takes you at your word. Go! But anyway, we're going to use an impression die that I've made from a master. This is a master that I hand carved, and I have a lot of skulls. People like skulls. And what I do is press the master into a piece of steel, and that creates an impression. The impression is what I sell for jewelers to be able to make jewelry out of my impression of my original master. Does that make sense? Anyway, basically I'm taking a hard piece of metal, tool steel, pressing it into a softer piece of metal, mild steel, and then we're pressing an even softer piece of metal, silver, into the impression. And that's what gives us a copy of what the master die looked like that we all started from. So let's move in a little bit closer so you can see what's happening. All right, the way this is going to work is we're just going to place our annealed piece of silver, disc of silver, right over the top of that skull impression. And then I'm going to use a piece of urethane that's slightly smaller than the impression is. This one should be this one should work just fine. Anyway, I will place the silver on, place the urethane on top, and when the urethane is depressed, it's going to fill in that cavity and move the silver with it as it goes. Now then, let me re-aim the camera to the press where the action will happen. Okay, we want to make sure that we're in the center of the press, and this is a neat little press. It's a 20-ton press, and Kevin Potter makes these available for a really affordable price, especially when you take into account the quality of the build that he does. Now that we have it positioned in the center, it's both centered longitudinally and laterally, or vice versa, depending on where you're standing. And we've tightened up the bottle jack. All I have to do is raise it up until the urethane fills the cavity. And it doesn't take a great deal of effort. I will probably do this twice. I like to press once and then turn the die, press again, and then I'll probably anneal. Depends on how good an impression we get. May not need to. And that's what it looks like before we pry it out. Now we got a very good impression, and we're finished. This die did its job in this little purple press. Well, that was easy and fun too. The reason that I made this video is I've had a couple of people ask what the impression dies are used to do and how you use them. I have a lot of impression dies on my Etsy store, and if you're not familiar with impression dies or how presses work, it's a little confusing. People think they're molds, or and I guess they can be used for PMC molds, but now I have a place to send people who are unfamiliar with how impression dies work. So thanks for watching. I'll see your bright and shiny face in the next video.